Tom, we've spent a lot of time and energy trying to develop the Jasper County port site, which most people concede is one of the best port sites left in North America. But I'm not sure why we're not getting there, and I'd like to hear your opinion about the site itself, the opportunity it presents, and why we're not getting where we need to go.
Well, I can tell you why we're not getting where we need to go is we took the two entities that were most opposed to it and created a committee and put them in charge so that the project is in the hands of the two people or two entities that don't want it to happen. As far as where we go from here, there's not an easy answer to that, but I have a number of ideas. But at a minimum, we're not going to sit by and meekly let that situation go on indefinitely. The site is the obvious best site on the East Coast. The advantages are as obvious as subtracting 22 from, subtracting 8 from 22. The cost, the overhead for the ships, the environmental impact, all is much less going to the Jasper site than going all the way to the Savannah site. It's just there's no environmental impact in the sense that the environment was despoiled 60, 70 years ago, and now we are simply using the spoiled area that was on top of whatever environment there was.
Well, Tom, on that point, you know, a lot of critics of the upstream Savannah site that's in the permitting process now and seems to just be roaring through, say that even if that thing gets permitted and even if it gets built, the ongoing costs of removing, in many places, up to 30 feet of river bottom to get to the 50-foot controlling depth on the upper reaches of the river is just an ongoing expense that can't be borne by the federal government, the state of Georgia, or the port itself, and certainly not the vessels that come to it. Why do you think that the state of Georgia has invested so much effort in what appears to be a financial mistake? And two, what can Jasper County or anybody else do to bring that to the attention of the public or the courts or the federal government or whoever the appropriate entity is?
Well, there are a number of things. Whether it's the media, whether it's groups like chambers of commerce in towns throughout Georgia, whether it's political activity, all of those things could be done to bring to attention what a bad idea the upstream dredging is compared to the stopping much further downstream. You know, the statutory arrangement says that they shall build the Jasper County port. It doesn't say that they shall think about it or look into it. The most recent thing that needs exposure is they are talking about some phenomenal $5 billion Jasper Port project. Well, we almost had it built for $500 million. So they're spinning this story and changing the facts to make this sound like a much more unlikely project than it is. We were on the cusp of actually doing it till the state of South Carolina stepped in and stopped us, which is ironic because last I checked, Jasper County was in South Carolina too. But there are a lot of things that we we need to do other than sit back and wring our hands and talk about how unfair it is.
Well, one thing that a lot of people have pointed out with the plan that Georgia is trying to implement now is that the Jasper County site would be one of the primary sites for the placement of toxic spoil that will be coming out of the river as much as 28 miles upstream, including a mile-wide turning basin upstream. Would that preclude an alternative use of the Jasper County port site, such as a major shipbuilding operation that would be able to build these new Panamax-sized vessels? Because there aren't many places on Earth, and certainly very few in North America, that could actually accommodate a shipyard like that.
Certainly, the United States Corps of Engineers has to agree to stop using that particular portion of the spoilage area. Just like Jasper County is part of South Carolina, even though some people seem to forget that, we're also part of the United States. So the idea that the Corps of Engineers is somehow more invested in the Port of Savannah than in the Jasper Port is kind of outrageous, and our people in Washington need to intervene on our behalf. In any event, the active spoil disposal on that site would have the effect of setting back the project for quite some period of time. As some people know, have been somewhat obsessed with this project over the years, and I am painfully aware of the science of spoil disposal. And once they dredge onto a particular spot, it takes probably 2 years before it's dry enough to walk on, much less to work on. So that is an imminent threat to the project, at least as a delay of the project. Ironically, they're spinning it as they're going to help us out by putting more elevation on the site, which is ridiculous. It's already twice as high as the city of Savannah. It's about 30 feet high on the port site, and the city of Savannah is like 12 or 14 feet high.
Anything else you want to say about the port?
Well, just that, again, this has been a real project of mine for about 20 years, and I feel like, in all modesty, I'm the best person to move that project forward if it's ever going to move forward.
Okay.